Have you ever wondered why some businesses struggle and other businesses thrive? Have you ever wondered why some people, it seems like the work that they do in their business is just so easy for them, and other people, it seems like they live on the struggle bus? When I first got started in business, I lived on the struggle bus. And then I heard people who were successful talking about how to succeed, and I desired to do the things they were saying, but there was some kind of communication gap that would not even allow me to understand what they were saying. I heard the words, and I knew what the words meant, but when they put them in a sentence, I didn't cognitively grasp or comprehend the information that they were putting out there, and so it just sounded like words that I couldn't apply. And so today, I want to share with you how to level up for business success, because there are 4 different levels of business building. And we talked about this before, like oftentimes when we find principles that are true in the earth realm, they show up in 4, because 4 is the number of the earth. 1 is the number of unity, 2 is the number of separation or holiness, 3 is the number of God, 4 is the number of the earth. There are 4 directions on earth: north, south, east, and west. There are 4 seasons: winter, spring, summer, and fall. There are 4 levels of value. Implementation is the lowest level of value. Unification is the second lowest. Next to the highest level is communication. Highest level of value is imagination. There are 4 levels of parenting for 4 levels of child development. There are 4 levels of teaching for 4 levels of learning. And there are 4 levels of doing business. And what a lot of people do is I think all of us, I say a lot of people, I think all of us to some degree, what we do is we think that putting more effort into the current level is the thing that will cause us to level up. But it's not about putting more work into what's already not working that works better. It's about becoming aware of what would work better and then only working on those things, or predominantly working on those things. It's like, we've heard all our lives, if you want to be successful, work harder. Well, on the 4 levels of value, the lowest level of value is implementation. So if I implement more hours in a day, believing that that's going to make me more successful, I'm going to discover that the only thing it's going to do is make me more tired. And so what do I have to do? I have to become aware of the fact that there is a higher level. This is why, by the way, that businesses that hire employees generate more revenue than businesses that don't. Why? Because unification, using management skills to manage other people doing the work, is a higher spiritual activity than doing the work yourself. And so in the 4 levels of business growth, or 4 levels of business development, building a business, the lowest level, so we're going to do it just like we do the 4 levels of value. We're going to look at the 4 levels of building a business. And the lowest level of building a business is transactional. Transactional. And it's interesting how on the transactional level of doing business, there are levels to the 4 levels of there are levels to the 4 levels of business building. If your business is predominantly business building, you're focused on one of these 3 things. Number 1, I need money. I need to make some money. And so because you need to make some money, you're focused on creating a transaction that will make you some money. But what you don't realize is focusing on the transaction so you can make the money is the thing that's keeping you from making the money. Because if you think about like doing a sales transaction as if, okay, from the standpoint of, okay, if I could just get them to pay me, like if that's how you're thinking about it, the problem with that is they can feel that. They can feel that you just want their money. And when they feel that you just want their money, they have no desire to do business with you. So if you're transactional, predominantly transactional, because you're hyper-focused on your needs, the focus that you have on your needs is the thing that keeps you from getting your needs met. Isn't that so paradoxical? Like, people start a business and they say, well, you got to make sales. I'm in business now, I got to make sales. I'm in business now, I got to get clients. And then attempting to get clients is what keeps you from getting clients. Which is why when I'm teaching sales, I teach that it's like if you want to do a lot of business, if you want to do big business, it's not about like going out and finding a bunch of people who will give you money. It's about realizing that there are a bunch of people out there with a problem. And if you figure out an efficient and elegant solution for their problem, they will happily pay you. And so, like, it's not about obsessing over your needs and then attempting to get other people to do the same, but that's what most people do. That's why most people are broke, because most people are so self-absorbed and they're so self-conscious and self-aware of the things they need for themselves that when they're talking to other people, all of their energy is from them back into the person who desires the outcome. And so what I have to do is I have to let go of my need to make money. And I have to just become aware that making money is the result of something. And then if I can figure out what the making money is the result of, and I can focus on that thing, then I can have that result a lot more effectively, a lot more efficiently, a lot more rapidly, a lot more expeditiously than if I'm so focused on, man, how do I get this money? How do I get this money? How do I get this money? I don't allow myself to ask the question, how can I get this money? How can I make these sales? How can I get these people to buy? I don't allow myself to ask that question when I'm in conversations with people about business. When people say, Myron, what's your elevator speech? Here's my elevator speech. What floor are you going to? You say, what does that mean? What it means is, if I meet somebody on an elevator, I'm not trying to do a business transaction. There's not enough time. It's like, what's your elevator pitch? In my opinion, I could be wrong, but it's not likely with regard to what I'm talking about right now. Like, what's your elevator pitch is like saying, hey, if you met somebody on the elevator and you really wanted to marry him, what would you say? Well, there's no good answer to that question, right? And so you're either focused on, I need to make money, or you're focused on the fact that I have a great product. And guess what? Nobody cares. And it could be product, it could be service, it could be opportunity. If you are focused on the fact that I have a great product, and then, okay, so have you ever noticed that when you talk to people, the only way they feel like they can be engaged in the conversation is if they disagree? Have you ever noticed that? So if you say to somebody, it's a really beautiful day out, watch how many people, just go do it today. Watch how many people say, yeah, but we really need the rain. Right? If it's raining and you say, man, isn't this rain wonderful? Oh man, I can't wait till the sun starts shining again. Or if it's cold outside, oh my goodness, this is nice brisk air. Yeah, but man, I can't wait for summertime. Oh, isn't it beautiful outside today? Oh, it's so hot, I can't wait for wintertime. Like, people feel like they have to disagree with you in order to engage in the conversation. So if you say to somebody, or if the energy of your message is, I have a great product, in order for them to even engage in the conversation or feel like they can engage in the conversation, they have to disagree with you. It's just human nature. And so I don't ever try to get people to believe I have a great product, or a great service, or a great opportunity. Why? Because I know it's a waste of time. Instead of me, in fact, I don't really have a desire for people to know anything about me when I'm dealing with them other than the fact that I am here to serve you. I am here to, if I can make your life better, then that makes me happy, right? And it's hard for us to do that because we think to ourselves, but if that's all I think about, how am I ever gonna get mine, right? Well, that's the best way to get yours, because Jesus was not wrong when he said, he who will be greatest among you, let him be servant of all. Okay? So I have they're thinking I have a great product. And so if you're thinking, I need to make money, or I have a great product, or I am the most qualified, right? Because what they do is they try to justify with validation. Like, I've been in business for X number of years. I have this degree. I have this certification. And you can tell what people care about. So when you first start talking to them, I'm going to take this jacket off because I'm hot. But you can tell what people are focused on when you're talking to them by what they tell you first about themselves. Like, meet people. And you say, how you doing? Great, I'm great. So what do you do for a living? Well, I'm a John Maxwell certified coach. There's nothing wrong with being a John Maxwell certified coach. But what they're looking for, what they're saying is, I am the most qualified, or I am a qualified person. Or I have a certification in, and then they name whatever they have a certification in, right? Or I'm Dr. So-and-so, right? And what happens is people believe that if they believe that I'm the most qualified, or if they believe that I'm qualified, then they'll do business with me and I can get a transaction. But I'm going to tell you something. What if transactions, which are how you get the money, right? And they get your product or your service, your opportunity. What if transactions were just the natural outcome of providing value for them? And then what if the only way that you could provide value for them would be to ask them enough questions to find out what they value? And then when you talk to them, you only talk to them about stuff they value instead of about stuff you value and wish they would value, because you value it. Is what I'm saying making sense to everybody? And so what I do, I'm like, okay, I don't want to be a transactional entrepreneur, because transactional entrepreneurs are stuck at a very low income level, number one, but they don't get to impact the world in a great way because people will resist doing transactional business with transactional business people. So the next level is educational. Educational. And when you operate from an educational level, the lowest level of educational level is I need you to think I know. And it's amazing how many people operate from this place. I need you to believe that I know, right? And so everything is about them. It's interesting, like I watch some YouTube channels, and I watch them, and what they do is, like, they'll ask people questions, and then they'll just lambast those people's answers, and just kind of like, no, that's crazy, you can't. And I'm thinking to myself, these people don't, I mean, yeah, you know, but your need for other people to know that you know is not good for your business. It may feel like it's good because people will go along with. See, here's what I discovered. When leaders do things, people who are followers will go along with what leaders do because the leader did it, even if it's not the right thing. It's just the way, it's just human nature, right? And so I remember, and I'm not talking badly about people. I'm just telling you what I observed. Like when I used to ride to work with my brother when we lived in Gary, Indiana. We'd go to Chicago, and he loved listening to Dr. Laura Schlesinger. And people would call her, and they would ask her stupid questions, and she would just let them know, well, you are the biggest dummy in the world. Right? And maybe that's not what she said, but that's how it felt like. That's what, like, I listened to her answer people's questions, and she just lay them out, and I'm thinking to myself, there's no universe in which I'd ever call this woman and ask her a question, ever. Or Rush Limbaugh, same thing. Like, and I'm not talking bad about Rush Limbaugh. I'm saying there are people who need you to know they know. And they take great pride in the fact that other people know they know, and other people know they know more than most people know, right? But if that's your thing, yeah, there are people in the world who will do business with you because you need them to know you know, and they'll believe that you know because you need them to know you know, and so everything you do proves to them that you know. That's what your whole life is about, proving to other people that you know. Okay? Or, if you're on the educational level, it's because I need them to know. Because if they know, if they understand this thing right here, they will know they need this thing right here that I sell, right? So I need them to know that this thing is the best thing for this thing. And if that's how I'm doing business, yes, I can do some business that way. It is, in my opinion, it is never a good idea to spend too much time talking about your solution. If I have a solution for you and I'm doing a presentation for you, then the presentation that I'm doing for you is going to be 80% about you and 20% at the most about me and my stuff. Why? Because the thing you care about the most is not me and my stuff, but it's you. Are you tracking? Go read the Bible and notice what Jesus did. Now, Jesus knew that the greatest need of humanity was eternal life. He knew that. However, before he talked to humanity about what he knew we needed, he talked to us about what we knew we needed. So he would feed people who were hungry before he gave them the gospel, even though eternal life is more important than food. Are y'all tracking? And see, what we want to do is we want to give people the thing that matters the most first because it matters the most. But you can't really hear an eternal life message over a growling stomach. Are y'all tracking? Yes. And so you're operating from the place that I need them to know, or you're operating from the place that, now this is the highest level of education, they need to know, because when they know, their life will get better. They need to know. So if you're going to build a business based on education, then teach them because they need to know. Teach them because their life will get better because they know. Not because you need them to know you know. Not because you need them to know what you know so they'll believe what you believe, but just because you know their life will get better. It's interesting to me, even on YouTube. So as I'm building my YouTube channel and I do YouTube videos, I'm fascinated by how many people who've been on YouTube for a year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. They've been on YouTube for a long time. They've never made one video, but they want to leave a comment-lopedia on one of my videos. Because they think clearly all of these people who are coming to watch these videos are coming to read their opinion about me. It's so fascinating. It's like, are you really, and it doesn't bother me, I'm just fascinated that somebody could be that delusional. You're pretending to believe something so much that you have to write 15 paragraphs in a comment. But you don't care enough about it to create one video in 10 years. That's fascinating. But why do I do these videos on YouTube? Because I know that if I create videos on YouTube that bring value to other people and they go do it and their life gets better, then they will associate me as somebody, when I show up, I'm bringing them something good. As opposed to, I'm showing up looking for something from them that's good. It's the exact opposite equation. And by the way, who could do this? Anybody could, but the hard part of that equation is obsessing over other people's problems long enough to even figure out what they are. Does that make sense to everybody? And so I've got to get to the place in my life and in my business where I am no longer just doing business transactionally or just doing business educationally, because even though the educational business model is a good business model, because an educated client is going to be the best client, when we're educating them, we have to educate them in the right way, in the right sequence, and about the right things, right? What do I mean? Educate them in the right sequence. What does that even mean? Well, we have to teach them the first things first. We have to educate them in the right way, which means I'm teaching them because they need to know, not because I need them to know, and not because I need them to think I know. But I'm teaching them because they need to know. Your life will get better when you know this. Like the kind of concern that we have for our children, right? We want them to know because they know. And then relationally. So relational. Obviously, all of our businesses are going to be on some level, all of these. I just realized, is this red? I just realized that. It's so fun being colorblind. Okay, so relational. It's because the lowest level of relational is I need good people in my life. And by the way, people who hyper-focus on the fact that they need good people in their life have a hard time attracting good people into their life. Because the people who are good people that you desire to have in your life also desire to have good people in their life. And generally speaking, we all think of good people in our lives as people who come into our lives to contribute, not people who come into our lives to consume. Can I get a witness? Right? And so it's so counterintuitive to the fleshly nature of being a human to show up predominantly to serve. But if you show up predominantly to serve, it will serve you at a high level over a very, very long period of time. So I need good people in my life. And then, or it's the next level is I need good people to bring good things into my life. So what happens is, instead of just, I need good people in my life, so we get around people and like, oh man, if I could just meet this person. Oh, if I could just take a selfie with this person. Oh, if I could just get to know this person. And so we're attempting to build relationships to get something from the relationship, which does not generally lead to building good relationships. If I desire to build good relationships, I have to build good relationships by seeking to bring good things to the relationship, not by seeking to get good things out of the relationship. It's so counterintuitive. It's so paradoxical. It's so oxymoronic to think, okay, I have to do the opposite of my objective in order to reach my objective. So I need good people in my life. And then The highest level of relational is I need to be a good person in others' lives. In others' lives. That's the relational objective. I need to show up as a good person. See, if I will show up over and over and over and over again into every arena that I enter into where people are, and I just keep bringing value, 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 I don't have to ask for somebody to give value back to me. It's just going to automatically happen. Now, granted, yes, eventually you're going to have to make some offers and make some sales and ask people to buy, all of that stuff, but that's not the thing that created the conversion. The thing that created the conversion was all the stuff that happened below the soil before you that day ever showed up where you said, hey, wouldn't you like to buy this? It's all the stuff that happened in the background. It's like I texted Zach yesterday morning, and I said, hey, Zach, how many people do we have registered for this challenge? Because our challenge starts today. And when you're watching this video on YouTube, that's not going to be the case because this is recorded. But our challenge starts today. And so he said, we have 350. So yesterday morning, we had 350 people. I woke up this morning, I checked again, we had 427 people registered, right? And then by the time it starts, it'll probably be 450, 470, 480, because ticket sales are just coming in all morning. It's just kind of crazy. Well, why is that? Because I do videos like this, where I'm teaching people really cool stuff that they can go and apply, and I'm not asking for anything. So when I show up, people show up to see me, people show up to hear me because they know I'm showing up for them. So they show up for them, which eventually may or may not, and I'm okay with it, benefit me. But I know enough of them will desire what I have that it will benefit me in the long term anyway. So I don't have to think about me while I'm doing it. Is what I'm saying resonant? Is it making sense? Okay, okay, good, you're tracking. So I got one more. The highest level of business building is transformational. Transformational. Okay, it's transformational. Transformational. When you get to operate on a transformational level, there are three. And one is the lowest one. I think I wrote it backwards. Hold on a second. I want to make sure I got this right. Okay. So it starts out, it's fine. So the lowest level is realizing they require a transformation. So they require a transformation. Well, who desires what person in the world desires a transformation? Every person who desires for their life to get better. Every person who desires for their life to get better is looking for a transformation in something. Usually, the biggest arenas of sought-after transformation are health, wealth, and relationships. So the question becomes, do I have the ability to bring somebody a transformation in their health, their wealth, or their relationships? Now, it could be something else, but those are the big three, right? And then, okay, the next, after they require transformation, I have found a transformation. I have found a transformation. When I say I have found a transformation, that means I've found a transformation for myself. I've found a transformation in my life. I found something that worked for me. Okay? And then that's really, really close. And a lot of people stop right there. They require transformation, so I'll go talk to them about the transformation they require, and people still don't buy. Why? Because they're listening to somebody who hasn't found the transformation for themselves. So before you start going out telling other people just because you realize they require transformation, how to have that transformation, you might do well to figure out how to have that transformation yourself, right? Like I teach people how to make money because that's something I figured out how to do. I figured it out, right? It took me a long time to figure it out, but it was worth the wait. Okay, so I figured it out. Okay, but then just knowing that I figured it out's not enough either, right? Like just because I figured it out for me doesn't mean I figured it out for you. This is why we have to be like really, really hyper intentional when we're listening to what people are saying, because beware of the guru, whoever they might be, even if I one day turn into a guru, beware of me, right? Beware of the guru who tells you their way is the only way to do a thing. Because somebody who tells you their way is the only way to do a thing are seeking to get something from you more than they're seeking to get something to you. Like, I don't even think I could be so bold as to tell you that my ways of doing business are the best ways. I think they're really good ways, and they work really, really well for me, and they've worked really, really well for my clients. But I can't, like, if I said they were the best ways, well, this is the best way to make $1 million. This is the best way to build an 8-figure business. This is the best way. Well, how do you know you haven't tried all the ways? You haven't even experimented with 10 of them, and you're saying this is the best. You don't know if it's the best. It's the best one you found so far. Now, that could be accurate, right? And so the highest level is I've figured it out. What does that mean? I figured out why I was able to have the transformation. And I know I figured it out because I shared it with somebody else and they had the same transformation. And then I shared it with another person and they had the same transformation. Then I shared it with another person and they had the same transformation. And so when you're thinking about building your business, if you will spend 80% of your business building time here and 20% of your business building time down here, because this stuff down here is still relatively necessary. You still have to teach people stuff and you still have to have a transaction, but most of your focus, if it's transformational and relational, what happens is now you have the ability to build a business that can take your life and your family to the next level. Does that make sense, everybody? Yeah. Is that helpful? Yeah. Cool. Thank you for watching. Share this video with somebody if it makes sense to you. If it doesn't, well, I guess you'd have to keep it to yourself. In the meantime, in between time, we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.